Kirk Cousins, quarterback for the Vikings, probably almost definitely tore his Achilles. Yeah. So the Vikings won by 14. They beat the Packers, kind of won the game, but like lost the war or battle. I don't know if Kirk Cousins is the war, but Cousins is out for the season. And like, I don't know. There's so many ways to look at this. I mean, it sucks for the Vikings. It sucks for fantasy football if you have the Vikings. If you have Kirk, he's done. Jordan Addison, who's been fantastic. I mean, he has 7 touchdowns this season. Like, it might be hard to play going forward. I mean, the quarterback now is Jaron Hall, who's a 5th-round rookie out of BYU. And I feel like TJ Hawkinson was a top 3 tight end. He's not going to be that probably anymore. And then Justin Jefferson, if you had him on IR and hoping he'd come back and save you for the playoffs. I don't know, TK. It's so weird. Kirk Cousins, like it's also, he's going to be 36 next season.
I know this is a inflection point for this franchise, of course, because now the question is, where does Kirk play next year? It's almost positive they're going to move on from him at this point. Who's going to be the next quarterback? Are they going to trade for a guy? There's just so many questions to answer or to ask right now. And so it does. It sucks, especially just for fantasy, though. Like, I mean, obviously it sucks the most for Kirk Cousins, but it sucks for fantasy just because all these guys that we were relying on now are probably going to have much lower floor or much lower ceiling, lower floor. And I think it also begs the question, like, what are we going to see with Justin Jefferson the rest of the year? Is he going to come back and be, or is he going to come back even at all? And is he going to, if he does come back, is he going to be the elite guy? Yeah.
It's a bummer for Minnesota because, like 3 weeks ago, everybody was like, are they going to trade Kirk to the Jets? How are they going to tank? They should just focus on getting Justin Jefferson the quarterback of the next decade. And then they beat the Niners. They strung a couple wins together and the Lions lost. And it was like, oh, wow. Like the Lions are actually not that far out of first place in the NFC North. So it's a huge bummer that they were actually gaining momentum and like becoming a contender again this year. And now it's all in the trash.
Maybe this is bad, and I'm one of those people that when the Vikings started 0-3, I'm like, just trade him to the Jets.
Yeah.
Maybe this is bad, but my first thought was, can you imagine if the Jets had traded for Kirk Cousins and then he also tore his Achilles?
What's going on with these Achilles injuries? It feels like Craig, you mentioned this. Yeah.
It feels like the Achilles is the new ACL, where it's like, I mean, again, maybe this is all anecdotal because like Aaron Rodgers is famous but I feel like it's happened a lot in the NBA and the NFL in like the last like 4 or 5 years. Felt like the run of it started with like the Durant, Klay Thompson around like 2019. And then since then, I feel like all we hear about is guys tearing their Achilles more so than their ACLs.
Yeah. Anecdotally, to me, it always felt like a very rare injury. It was like, obviously in most cases, injury. It was like career ending. Yeah. It's not like that anymore. A lot of guys are coming back from it, which is great. But it definitely feels more common for whatever reason. I don't know why.
I mean, 2 quarterbacks this year tore their Achilles tendons. Like, when is the last time? Has that ever happened before? 2 guys in like 2 months? And these aren't even like mobile quarterbacks. These are like pocket passers.
I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe but my first thought's just like, I don't know, dude's playing older. Like Rodgers is almost 40. There didn't used to be any of those. Like there used to be one 40-year-old quarterback every handful of years. Like Kirk Cousins, he's like not even that old. It's like, well, shit, man, 35 used to be old. Like, so it's funny. We don't think of Kirk Cousins as old, but when Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were 35, we're like, these guys are so old. So I don't know. If anything, I think it speaks to how much our idea of like what youth and aging is at quarterback. It's like, I don't know, any kind of injury to a 35-year-old quarterback, even a decade ago, would have been like, well, yeah, it was a matter of time. So, but it sucks for him. Kirk Cousins is set to be a free agent next year. And I think it's weird. It doesn't just affect the Vikings. It's like the free agent class in general for quarterbacks. Like if you're not going to be in position for a young quarterback in the draft, Kirk Cousins kind of was the free agent class. It's like, now it's like, what? There's Ryan Tannehill's a free agent. I mean, is he going to retire? Baker Mayfield with the Bucks, he's the only starter. And then it's like Jacoby Brissett and Tyrod Taylor and Sam Darnold and Drew Lock and Gardner Minshew. And I'm like, okay, so backups.
Wow. That's the free agent class?
I believe so. Maybe there's a couple guys I missed, but that's So I mean, Kirk, and also where is Kirk who's gonna sign Kirk Cousins to rehab with them?
Somebody will sign him. I feel like he's proven enough over the years. Somebody will sign him. Plus, what we saw with the show, I didn't actually watch the show, but like one of the big things that was coming out of that quarterback show it was Netflix, right? Mm-hmm. Was that he just is like a absolute lunatic about taking care of his body. So he's kind of got like the Aaron Rodgers vibes to him, where he's just gonna
maybe he'll be back this year.
To get back.
Who knows?
Yeah. Look at Rodgers was running around pregame.
If Rodgers comes back successfully, does Kirk have to listen to dolphin porn?
He seems like he'd be up for it.
He already does a lot of like cognitive training where he like hooks up like things to his brain and like runs frequencies through them. So I wouldn't be surprised.
That's how they call plays.
Yeah.
They're just hardwired in.
It runs frequencies through the
Whatever it's called.
You're
I
explaining
think that's how
that.
talking works. It's just a frequency going through your brain. I don't know. I'm not a
That's how
scientist.
That's how music works too. You know?
Yeah, it's just
You
a
think about it.
frequency, man. It's literally a vibration. Okay. So that sucks for the Vikings, but so many quarterbacks got hurt today. So Kirk towards Achilles, that sucked. Matt Stafford hurt his thumb. Desmond Ridder was like cleared of a concussion, but then never re-entered the game. And then Arthur Smith, the head coach of the Falcons, said that it was not performance-related benching for Ridder. Whatever happened. Kenny Pickett suffered a rib injury. Tyrod Taylor suffered a rib injury for the Giants, and then he's actually in the hospital right now overnight. Well, we're recording this Sunday night.
That poor guy.
We're listening to this. But
no, he's had some really rough luck.
I think who's to know? I mean, he got stabbed. We always joke about it, but like he got freaking hit with a needle too hard and had to, I think, go to the hospital for that. So I feel like it might be related. I don't know. So then the Giants went to their third string quarterback, Tommy DeVito. Like there was some, we came into the weekend thinking it was tough for quarterbacks.
we're down to Tommy
like
DeVito now.
Kid from
Tommy
backyard
DeVito.
baseball.
What Scorsese movie was he in? I forget. Good God. Is this the most Italian quarterback ever? Like, I thought it was Ben DiNucci, but like Ben DiNucci, I looked it up. He's from Georgia. Tommy's from New Jersey. He went to Don Bosco Prep. Yeah. This is the most Italian dude ever. You know that the name Tommy DeVito is one of the original members of the band The Four Seasons.
Oh,
Tommy DeVito.
Interesting.
I just love it. I just love that this guy is playing quarterback. A quarterback named Tommy in general is just great.
Joe Pesci must have played a character named Tommy DeVito at some point, right?
Tommy DeVito? He sounds like he's hanging
just
out
like
with
an extra. Yeah,
De
he's an
Niro
extra
in
in any
Goodfellas.
of like any of those shows, any of those movies.
It's Tommy. Okay. So
and
Tommy
he threw
DeVito
for
had an incredible
-1 yards.
Well, I was going to
Not
read
great.
Will Levis's stat line and just pretend it was Tommy DeVito's stat line. We'll get to the
Heifetz,
Giants.
would you
Wait,
have
hold
rather
on.
had
Before we
Kendall
move
Hinton
on,
today in the game or Tommy DeVito?
You know what's tough is there's two separate games the Giants have had this year where that's a question. That's bad.
Yeah.
How many passing yards did the Giants finish with this?
All right, fine. You want to start with the
Are
Giants?
we
Fine.
ready
I
to
was going
talk
to talk about Will
this?
Levis, but screw it. Let's talk about the
It's
Giants
7.
now. The Giants, no.
Yeah,
7
we gotta.
passing, but if you do net passing yards where you just subtract the
7.
sack yardage, did you just hold up a 5? Was that a bit?
Yeah,
Doesn't
it's
matter.
a thing from a movie.
Oh, okay.
People
Well, anyway,
can't
if
see
you
us.
do
You
net
guys know
passing
that, right?
yardage.
It's I think it's from Ace Ventura. 7 years I've been
Oh.
here, and he's like holds up 5 hands, 5 fingers. Anyway, continue.
So net passing yards, if you subtract sack yards from the passing yards, the Giants had -9 passing yards today. And the last team, the only team,
Is that a record?
well, the only team since 2010 that's had negative passing yards in a game is also the Giants 2 years ago with Jason Garrett. They lost 26 points to the Bears. It's the only team since
This
2010
team-
to do that.
I'm so sick of the Giants, Heifetz. I'm sorry, but Jesus.
I think the
I'm just
Giants
gonna
and the Jets should play each other every week. I think
But not
everybody
on
would
prime.
be cool with that. They just
I
play
was gonna say,
17
you were
games.
spared this being in prime time. I can't believe. So the Jets won
Yeah.
13-10 in overtime. The Jets got the ball 24 seconds left, down 3. They somehow managed to spike the ball with a second left. I have no idea how it happened. It honestly is one of the worst Giants games I've ever seen. I think that 3 of the worst 10 Giants games in Giants history.
it's
of
like
the season.
every week.
So it was pouring rain. The turf was a disaster. Everyone got hurt. I think there's so many numbers that could summarize this game. Low key, one of them is probably that Darren Waller was ruled out for the entire game with a hamstring injury, and he left with like 1 catch for 4 yards, and he was the leading receiver for the team. that's
Oh, God.
but they had the Giants and Jets had 15 punts in the first half, which is the most in the 21st century.
15.
0 for
They
17
started a
combined on
combined
third
0
down
for
in the first half.
17. Yes.
It's impossible. So it's like the Giants abandoned the concept of the forward pass. Tommy DeVito was essentially, honestly, it happened to my like high school varsity team. Like we had 2 quarterbacks, one broke his collarbone, one had a concussion. We just couldn't run an offense. We just had our running back take direct handoffs. The Giants, that's what they did. Saquon had 34 carries for like 128 yards, which that's not that many.
Yeah,
actually.
they called Joe Judge's nephew, Tommy DeVito, and they're like, hey, can he play quarterback today? Is that cool? Tommy? Yeah, he'll come.
This game set football back like 25 years.
I'm telling you,
I'm so sick.
Every
no
week,
more
just
New York
Jets, Giants.
teams. Get New York out of my
Also,
face.
play
I don't want to see
6:30
any more New
a.m.
York
Pacific
teams.
every week against each other, and no
For
one cares.
context, when I said the last team to do that negative passing
They're on
yards
the
was
Lifetime
Giants.
channel.
Before the Giants, the last time a team had negative net passing yards was the Titans in 2009 when they lost that game to the Patriots 59-0. And we've talked about a lot. That's the most dominant pro football game I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
That was the last time there was negative net passing yards. 59-0 through 3 quarters.